Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Gina and you're watching The Pink Trellis. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at my Pothos collection. I'm thinking over the next few weeks I want to share with you different collections that I have. So this week will be Pothos. Maybe next week will be Discidias, and then Ripsalis and Syngoniums, and then finally I think we'll do Hoyas again, because I have several new Hoyas and there's lots of new growth to share, and I think it would be a lot of fun. So Pothos, there's so much to love about that plant. It's so easy care, it's no fuss, you can go away on vacation for a couple of weeks and come back and it's still alive. It's one of my favorite plants, and it looks pretty too. Not only is it easy to take care of, but it looks great. In addition to the Pothos, I also have a couple of Scindapsus that I want to share with you guys. And also we're going to do some propagating. I'll show you how I do propagating of my Pothos and my Scindapsus. All right, so first I'm going to show you my global green Pothos. And this one has quite unique leaves, patterns on the leaves, which it's kind of hard to see. It doesn't show up super well. Some of the leaves are just green, but then some of these leaves have these beautiful it's kind of a variegation of green shades, and I don't know if it's common with a lot of these, but the leaves on my plant are quite small, and I don't know if that's because it's hanging rather than trailing up. I know sometimes when they climb up, vine up, the leaves can grow a lot larger. So the leaves on this plant is also quite firm, and this one is a little bit, with most Pothos, it's easy to tell when they need watering because they'll get limp. But for some reason, this plant, it's super difficult to know when to water it because it always stays so firm. So what I do, I keep it in this terracotta pot, and it's in a chunky mix, so it gets it's very airy, so I don't really worry about overwatering. So even though it doesn't appear to need watering, once a week I will give this one water. So this plant lives on a shelf in my office, and it's under grow lights, and the grow lights are pretty intense, so I know it's getting plenty of light. So I don't think more intense light would bring out more of the variegated look, and maybe if I gave it lower light, it would the pattern would show up better, but I'm not sure that would actually be the case. So there's the gorgeous. Here, you can't even see the pattern on that one. There's a good one. Global green. So this next one is my Pothos Pearls and Jade, and it hangs in this basket on the wall right behind here. I don't have a lot to say about this plant other than the leaves are just incredibly beautiful, as you can see, and each leaf is so different. It's fun to see what the patterns will be that pop out. So pretty. Just love it. And this is pretty long trailing. Thinking about propagating this one and then making the pot fuller. So It's super easy care, and it will definitely let you know when it needs to be watered. This one will get limp when it's freshly watered. You know, the leaves are going to be firm, but they'll definitely get more limp when they're ready for watering. So that's the Pothos, Pearls, and Jade. All right, so this next one is my Pothos Snow Queen. And again, it's another just stunning plant. These beautiful leaves. I've noticed, like with a marble queen, you can get some leaves that look like this, but with the true snow queen, every single leaf is going to have the high variegation like that. So this plant actually started out as a cutting, an unrooted cutting that I got off of Etsy, and that was about two years ago, maybe a year and a half ago. And it's kind of, I would call it slow growing, and that's probably because it's so highly variegated that it's a slow grower. This one has a little bit more green as opposed to like some of these. They all have a fair amount of green in them. Down at the bottom, they're getting a little bit more yellow looking even, which is interesting. So this plant gets I would call very high light, and it sits in this pot right here, and it's kind of a west-northwest facing window, so it gets pretty intense afternoon sun, and it seems to be doing okay with that. This one always kind of has like a limp look to it up here. Now down here, they're very firm leaves, so I don't know, maybe it has something to do with the intensity of the light that it receives. I'm not sure, but I just watered this one. Today's, let's see, only a few days ago, so I know it's not ready for watering again. Overall, it's just a really easy care plant, and it's beautiful. Slow growing, but a rewarding plant to grow. So this next one is my Hawaiian Pothos, and I had to go to it because it is too large to bring it into the other room with me. So let's just kind of back out here so you can see just how large it is. I gave it this moss pole, which I can add on to, and I've added several onto it. This one has gorgeous leaves, and I wanted to make sure, I didn't want this one to be a hanging plant, I wanted it to be a vining plant because I've read that if they vine, the leaves can get much larger. And that does seem to be the case. They do seem to be getting larger as they trail up. Look how pretty that is. I just love that yellow. It reminds me of like a pine, well, it's called Hawaiian Pothos, and I think of pineapple for some reason. Just very tropical. And maybe eventually I can get it to trail all the way across. And once again, this is another super easy going, growing plant. It's not fussy at all. The Hawaiian Pothos. So this one here is my Marble Queen Pothos. And it's another large one that is just easier for me to go to it than to bring it to me. So I have to, this one grows so large that, or it trails so long that I actually have to drape it over the top. Well, I can't get it to come off now. Not so easy one-handed, but sorry for the crazy camera movements. But I have several of these in this pot that I have to just, so they don't hit people in the head, I drape over the top. So this is a really pretty one too. Now you remember I was saying how the Snow Queen has, see these look like Snow Queen leaves here. Really similar. The shape of the leaves might be a little different. I'll have to compare them. But then it also has these almost solid green leaves mixed in. So you can definitely tell the difference between a Marble Queen and a Snow Queen. So pretty. And again, super easy care. I water it once a week. This one definitely needs water once a week. It's in a 6-inch pot and it doesn't last very long. It definitely gets limp after about 7 days. So that's my Marble Queen Pothos. All right, so this next one is my neon green Pothos. And this one is neat because it's actually, I made this. It's a kokedama, which is basically, it's a moss ball. So inside of this is soil, and then you wrap it with moss, and then you wrap it with twine, and it's this super cute ball shape. And you can hang this one, or I just keep it in this cute little shallow dish, and I just fill this with water once a week or so. Actually, when you know when to water these, because if it feels dry at the bottom, then you know it's time to water. This one is still damp, so we have some time. Probably another few days. This one will be ready, and it'll let you know when it needs water because the leaves will get limp. So it's not quite there yet. So I think the neon pothos is just, I love the leaves, and some are lighter than others, and some have this neat, like kind of a variegation in them. So this is definitely a favorite. And this started as just a little cutting. I think I purchased, it was like a 2-inch pot, and it hasn't been a fast grower. It's probably been in here for a year. But I think it's also slower growing because of how it's living in this moss ball. So this is the neon pothos. Super cute. So this next one is my Manjula Pothos. Another gorgeous pothos with beautiful variegation. And the neat thing about these, now the pattern is similar to the pearls and jade, which we looked at before, but the difference is the shape of these leaves. It's they're almost kind of a round shape, and the leaves are really firm. So here's a kind of, actually it looks like a lot like a heart, but it is rounder. It does have a more round shape to it. And the firmness of this makes it more difficult to tell when it needs to be watered. Similar to the global green, but not quite as bad as the global green. It will get just a tiny bit limp when it needs to be watered. So this one I water once a week, and I have it in a chunky mix here. And I actually took a cutting of this a few weeks ago, and I want to, it's kind of bare back here. And, all the trailing is in the front here, but I want to get some trailing on this side because I do have this in a hanging planter, and so it's always just one side's bare and one side's full of gorgeous leaves. So I'm gonna pot that up with you guys a little bit later, and we'll fill in this pot with a cutting I made a couple of weeks ago. More than a couple of weeks ago, probably a month ago. So that is the Manjula Pothos, and I highly recommend this plant to even for beginners, because it's just so easygoing and super easy, just easy overall, and it's gorgeous. So this next one is the classic house plant. This was actually the very first plant I ever owned many years ago. Well, this isn't actually the actual plant I owned. So this is the golden pothos. I think everybody has one of these, or everyone should have one of these. So I actually got this as free cuttings off of Facebook Marketplace, and I rooted them in some water, and then I potted them in this plastic nursery pot, and it sits in this basket in my dining room up on top of a cabinet, and it gets southwest facing. It's in a southwest facing window, so it gets pretty bright light throughout the day. And there's not a whole lot to say about it, but it's super easy. The leaves look very similar to the Hawaiian, but the shape might be different, I'm not sure. But definitely it does not get, the leaves don't get as large as the Hawaiian. That's a pretty house plant that everyone should have. So this next one is my Cebu Blue Pothos. And I think many people like this type of pothos. It has pretty, they're kind of bluish green leaves, a neat shape to them. They're more narrow than other pothos. And this plant is actually a cutting that the original I got from Planterina, and it was in transit for like 10 days or more, and it was winter time, and by the time it arrived it was in really very sad shape. So over the course of the next couple weeks after receiving it, it just was looking worse and worse. So I took a cutting of it, and I was able to, actually I might have taken 2 cuttings off of it. It looks like 2 or 3. And I was able to grow this from that tragedy. So pretty. That's the Cebu Blue. So this one is just as easy care as all the other pothos. I have it in a chunky mix, and I water it once a week, and this one does let you know when it needs water because it will get limp. And this one is it's nearly time for watering on this one. It's a little bit limp, and I do have this little, it has drainage, so I just water it, let it drain out, and then stick it back in its macrame plant hanger, and I just love it. The Cebu Blue Pothos. All right, so this next one is the Scindapsus Pictus Exotica, and this one, another beautiful leaf. This particular plant is in desperate need of a repotting. You can see it's been in this for quite a long time, and a lot of the soil has, when watering, has come out, and I believe this is actually the original pot from the nursery, and I want to get this into a chunkier soil, but it's growing great. One thing I don't like about this type of plant is it will get these pretty bare stems, leafless stems. So what I usually end up doing when they get too long, I'll cut them. Let me show you here. So for propagating these, I'll cut the stems. So I'll like cut between the between the nodes. So it'll cut like that. Then I'll cut that and that. And then I just stick them right into a plastic bag with water, put them under grow lights, and they'll sprout roots and leaves come out, and then I just plant those in little nursery containers. And it works out really well. So they're super easy to propagate. So care-wise, it's just like the pothos. I water it once a week, and these definitely let you know when they're thirsty, because they'll get all curled up. The leaves will get all curled up like this. And it's like, oops, time to water you. So this one's not like that because I just watered it a few days ago. So it's nice and happy. It just needs a repotting. So that's the Scindapsus, I always have trouble saying that, Scindapsus pictus exotica. So this is the final plant in my Pothos and Scindapsus collection, and that's the silver satin pothos. But it's actually a Scindapsus, but so this is very similar to the exotica. I actually like this one better. I kind of like the more splotchy, spaced out, silvery pattern on these. And also it doesn't get the bare stems like the exotica does. And it's just a really pretty plant. Also easy care, just like the pothos. I guess that's it about this one. It's just super cute and a great addition to your collection. So these are some cuttings I made a few weeks ago, probably maybe like 2 months ago, a month or two. And this is the Manjula that I mentioned before that I wanted to pot up into the original mother plant. You can see it has some really nice root growth on it, and it's ready to make that pot more full. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll show you it when it's all done. All right, so I went ahead and got that little cutting potted up, and here it is right here. So that should grow nicely. So we have trails and more than just a couple spots, and we'll fill in this side of the plant really nicely. So that was my Pothos and Scindapsus collection. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, don't forget to like and subscribe if you would like to see more of this sort of content. And then, as I said before, in the next coming weeks, I'll do some more collection videos, and perhaps in between those, I'll throw in a few different things so it won't be plant collection week after week. So we'll try and mix it up a bit. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!